Didn't get everything you wanted this holiday season? Spring Creek Model Trains can help. With a huge inventory featuring today's top manufacturers, Spring Creek Model Trains is sure to have just what you're looking for. Check them out in Deschler, Nebraska, on their website, springcreekmodeltrains.com, or come shop their huge selection at the Railroad Hobby Show in the Stroh Building, January 24th and 25th in West Springfield, Massachusetts. Or give them a call at 402-365-7628. If you're looking to bring more realism to your layout industries, the place to go is the Railroad Hobby Show in West Springfield, Massachusetts to see Tully models. You'll find Kevin in the Mallory Building with a wide variety of products from Industrial Modeler Supply and Southern Tier Grain Modeler Supply, including new announcements to take your trackside industries to the next level. For more, check out their website at tullymodels.com. ATLP Extra is our monthly newsletter delivered right to your inbox each month. Sign up for free at atlpextra.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Around the Layout, where model railroaders come to tell their story. My name is Ray Arnott, so glad you could join us. It's time once again to find out what's happening in model railroading. But first, let's find out what's trending in model railroading. And joining us to do that, the editor of Cowcatcher Magazine, Tim Blackwell. Take it away, Tim.
This is Tim Blackwell, publisher of Cowcatcher Magazine, and here's what's trending in model railroading. Scale Train's second run of rivet counter N-scale Trinity 7883 cubic foot mechanical reefers is expected to arrive at the company's Tennessee warehouse later this month. The run features 4 unique versions, including 8 BNSF paint schemes and 6 special patch jobs. These models are especially cool with refrigeration unit variations, cylindrical refrigeration fuel tanks, detailed side doors, and underbody detail. Track-powered, sound-equipped versions are available. For commuter transit fans, Rapido Trains announced it's rolling out an HO Go Transit Anniversary Fleet in honor of the transit agency's 60th anniversary next year. The first offerings include a GP40TC locomotive and 3 Hawker-Siddeley single-level commuter cars. Rapido hopes to release them early in 2027. The GP40TC is being created from original drawings and measurements and includes underframe details down to the traction motor cables, air filters, and HEP cabling. The locomotive will be available in 5 Go Transit paint schemes, plus in Amtrak. Rapido also plans a Go Transit FP7 APCU. The news follows Rapido's recent releases of HO Greenbrier transverse coil cars. Since 2024, Greenbrier has produced over 2,500 of these cars, which house up to 5 rolled steel coils in various sizes. Rapido's models are produced in Arkansas and Oklahoma, Chicago Heights Terminal Transfer, Union Pacific, and GATX in multiple road numbers. Models are available in 6-packs and singles. For book fans, Ron's Books in Harrison, New York has published a new one, Midwest Powerhouse, the story of the I&M Rail Link in Iowa with Randy J. Williams by George Povell. The book details what was the largest Midwest regional railroad with more than 1,300 miles of line. With 118 locomotives, it fielded 29 scheduled trips plus several additional daily trains under a haulage agreement with the Union Pacific. The I&M lasted just over 5 years from 1997 to 2002, before being acquired by the Dakota, Minnesota, and Eastern, which became the Iowa, Chicago, and Eastern. Williams, a native Iowa photographer, captured the I&M in its early years with many outstanding photos in this 80-page, all-color, softcover book. The book is available at ronsbooks.com. MTH Electric Trains will release the 2026 Premier O-Scale Gondola car with a pipe load in 6 different schemes in the spring. The cars will be available with 9 removable pipes, each in extremely limited quantities. The cars are expected to begin shipping to authorized retailers in May. The Scale 52-foot mill gondola has a removable scrap metal load. The prototypes commonly hauled scrap, mineral ores, granite slabs, gravel, logs, lumber, railroad ties, and even prefabricated railroad track. The car will be produced in CSX, Norfolk Southern, Bessemer and Lake Erie, and BNSF. The car will also be produced in Alaska Road and Montana Rail Link. All cars come with loads. Bachmann recently began shipping a new run of N-scale DCC with sound SD40-2s in 4 roads. These models feature new tooling on one of the company's longest-running locomotives dating to the 1970s. The locomotive is offered in DCC and has plenty of electronics, including sound, speed, direction, and lighting control in a dual-mode NMRA-compliant decoder. A Soundtrack's Economy 16-bit decoder has adjustable sound effects and volume options, and a Hyperdrive 2 advanced motor control provides refined low-speed operation. Exterior details include separately applied handrails and horns and detailed trucks with see-through side frames. Roads include Union Pacific, Santa Fe, CSX, and Norfolk Southern. Intermountain Railway began shipping in December its N-scale Trinity 5161 covered hopper in 6 road names. Roads include BNSF, Union Pacific, CXS Boxcar Logo, Ferromax, CITA Finance, and GATX in the blue logo. Intermountain is also taking reservations on a slew of HO and N-scale locomotives. Check their website at intermountainrailway.com. Kato recently released an all-new SD70 ACU in Canadian Pacific and Norfolk Southern in N-scale. Designed with road-specific details, these 6-axle models feature appropriate headlight placements, nose-mounted headlights for Canadian Pacific, and cab-mounted headlights for Norfolk Southern. Each locomotive showcases the distinctive paint schemes of the Canadian Pacific Heritage Fleet. Models are available in DC, DCC, and DCC with sound. For more product news and features, and also for prototype news and heritage news, check out Cowcatcher Magazine. Visit us at cowcatchermagazine.com. This is Tim Blackwell signing off. We'll see you next time.
Well, thank you, Tim, for that report. It's time to take a deep dive with a newsmaker in the model railroading hobby. And joining me to do that is the owner of ScaleSigns.com, Tom Garza. Tom, welcome back.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me back on your show.
Great to have you here. And you and I talk quite often, and you've just got so much going on over there at ScaleSigns.com, and you're constantly coming up with new ideas, and I love talking them with you. And I think we talk up all our anytime minutes once we get on the phone, too.
I think so.
I'm looking forward to getting caught up with you here and getting folks up to date on what's happening over at ScaleSigns.com. I know that you've got some plans and some big things heading up in 2026. Why don't we dive right into it and tell us a little bit about what you foresee happening with ScaleSigns in 2026?
Well, ScaleSigns has an incredible amount of growth since I think we're about to push on our 4th year. And I don't think there's been a single day in these last 4 years that anything stays the same, because we're always modifying things and making them better. And so we've decided that 2026 is going to be a reorganization year. We're going to take a little step back on going to train shows and focus more on the company, providing a better product for our customers and coming up with new ideas. One of the things that we realized is that in the beginning, we thought we were going to have like 300 parts, make it really easy, make it really neat, and then, make a good product. And that number has already shot up to almost 3,000 different UPCs. And that became a challenge for us that we didn't expect. And there's no handbook on how to definitely start a hobby business. So, we're learning along the way. So we decided in 2026, we're going to take a little step back and pay attention more to the company and make it so that we can have a better product for our customers. And so one of the things that we're doing is definitely our part number system in the beginning was really only made for, a few hundred. And so we had to adjust and make a new part number so that we can actually look at the part number, figure out what it is, and then, track it so that we know what's going on. We bought new displays so that we can be more organized. One of the things about being more organized also is having these new displays and having them set up. We're able and better part numbers, we're able to go get these parts quicker for our customers. So thus cutting the time down to pick the order in order to get them out to our customers so that way we can fill our orders quicker. And of course, that will make customers happier. Also, it came to the point to where our labels, we try to make everything as easy as possible for our customers. So we've come up with a new design for our labels and we've color coded them. So now at the top of all our products is a color strip. And that color strip indicates the scale of that product. So when a customer's looking at our stuff at a hobby shop or at the show, they will know that black strips are HO, orange strips are O, yellow strips are N scale, and blue strips are S. So it'd be really easy that if you're an S scaler guy and you come over to our booth and you're like, oh, I'm looking for S scale, but you already know blue. So as soon as you see that, and the display's already colored blue also. So you literally know where to go just by looking at the color of the display. So we color coded everything to make it easier for people to find. Like, once again, when you have 300 parts, it's easy to find that. But when you got 3,000, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. So we're trying to bring that down for our customers to help them out so that they can find things quicker.
So Tom, tell me, I mean, you talk about, the idea of 300 to 3,000. How do you get where you're now at 3,000 SKUs, and how does that start to unwind? I mean, is no in your vocabulary?
No is not in my vocabulary. When we originally started the company, it was just you cut out the signs. And so different packs, I had it to where, there was multiple signs in a pack. And as things went and listening to customers ended up being just, a pack of 8 of that certain sign made it easier. And then all of a sudden, people love to have the signs already complete. And that is really a big part that people now, that instant gratification of having the part already done and putting on the layout, totally understandable because that's how I am. So that's why we went from 300. You take those 300 and make them all complete. Now you got 600, but then I added more. And you got to make a double of each because you got the cutout and the complete. So so at one point, that 1,400 parts that we were at, which is on the website, is actually 3,000, and we're trying to get it, into control. And I haven't even, that's just HO. Everything in HO eventually be S and O. So I know at one point in the next couple of years, once we get there, we'll have over 10,000 SKUs because everything in HO is going to be S and O. So that is how that grew. And when I listen, I have right here, there's a gentleman named Jimmy Anderson. And he literally, I saw him at the Iowa train show, and he brought me a booklet of like 20 pages of all these signs. And he did such a great job. He's literally got the size of the signs on it. He's got a picture of the signs on it. Like, literally, he just gave me a book of work. And one of the things that I've learned in the 3 years that we've been doing this, customers who talk help us to go in the direction that we need to go. I always say, I always tell the person that I'm talking to, if you're asking me for that sign, there's other people out there that want it. You just took the extra time to come tell me. So that it just gets put on top of the list. And no, there is no on in ScaleSigns. I actually had to make a new page on the website. If you go under under art department, and I call it FAT, which is Fabrication Assembly Team. And so we call it FAT. I got the Army in me. And so acronyms, and they always come up with funny things. So I came up with FAT, and you come up with a word and then you make it fit what you need. And there is a list now. It was getting so much, I had to start making a list of what these people are asking for. And I was losing track, so now I had to make a list. So there's a list there now of what's coming. So no, there's no. That's how I got to 3,000, and it's still going to go from there.
So now you've got some new labeling. You've got a color code. It's easier now to go over to a shelf and a display and be able to pick up your scale. And then you mentioned all these different scales that you're doing. You mentioned HO, and I know HO being primary, but you're doing others. Talk about the process for creating them for all scales. Is it something where you can just press a button and it changes, or is there a little bit more work to be done there?
Very good question, because I thought that if I built a model and then you just go and convert it to its percentage, it would come out correct. And that ended up not being the problem. One of the things I learned real quick is in HO, we have a 3-post modern billboard kit. And I'm like, oh, let's test this thing out, drop it, 56% and make it into N scale. But the little slice that where you put in the ad, because we make it so you can change your ads on your billboard and not be static, that is a specific size to fit that piece of paper that goes in there for that ad. Well, when it went down to N scale, it shrank that gap, but I needed it to be the same because the paper is still the same. So you had to redesign it so that it fits the paper correctly so it'll still slide in. That's the same way if I go from HO to O scale. Now that space is too big, and now we got to make it narrow. So making things from one scale to the other is not just changing the percentage. Maybe printing a sign, but when we make 3D parts, changing it from one scale to the other, half the work is done, and then we go in and tweak the other half to make it fit.
Do you find different products are popular amongst different scales? Like if there's a product that's very popular in HO, is it still the same popularity in N, or do they differ?
I don't think they do differ. I think that all across the scales, I mean, if you need a stop sign, you need a stop sign. It doesn't, those are just some common things. No matter what scale you are, that's what you're going to need. So I have not seen a difference. And that's how we kind of drive how we're moving the O scale and S scale and N. Whatever's happening in HO is going to happen in those scales. Just like right now, we're just about to start making O scale propane cages, which are in HO, and they should be out in the next couple weeks. We're just finalizing all the stuff and making the artwork. And that's just one that's really super popular in HO. And we've had some people ask for them. So yeah, it's the same across.
You mentioned customer requests and people reaching out to you and sharing. We talked about, Jimmy Anderson. Jimmy's a listener of the podcast. We got to see him out at the 25th anniversary of Spring Creek Model Trains out in Deschler. So it was great to see Jimmy and his wife there. And it's always great to be at the foot of the customer. I love talking about that. And I know you've been able to do that as well. Talk about some of the requests that have come in that have really helped you shape ScaleSigns.
Well, one thing about Jimmy, I'm pretty sure he had a pretty great 2025 year, because I literally saw Jimmy at the St. Louis RPM, and then I saw him at Spring Creek, and then I saw him at Iowa, because his plan for 2025 was to be at a train show in every single state. So
Nice.
that was pretty incredible to see him that many times. Listening to the customers really is probably 80% of, if not 90% of the guide where we go, what's next. We just had a gentleman call in and talk to me about an HTUA sign. And I'm like, it's a Union Pacific sign. And I'm like, what is that? And the HTU sign is a high threat urban area. Like, I would have never thought that there was a railroad sign for the engineers to see that this is a high threat urban area. I'm thinking it must be LA or something. And so if he asked it and it's Union Pacific, other people are going to want it. I had one guy call about Conrail. Conrail's got these diamond signs that tell when the snowplow to lift up when it's going across a grading and when to come back down. So going to shows and checking emails and people asking for, hey, what about this sign? What about that? That's where we go back to where we said before, there's not really a no, because if they're asking for it, there's other people that are probably trying to model it. So really 90% of all the new stuff that happens comes from feedback from our customers.
It must also help you cover a very wide demographic of signage, right? I mean, you've got all this research already being done out in the field. You got your field reporters, which are your customers, telling you about all these unique signs and bringing all that information to you. So you can stay pretty much warm and comfortable right there in Michigan and have all the ideas kind of fed into you.
Absolutely. I just had somebody just a couple of weeks ago ask about military signs. So that's on the list to make some military signs. There's a customer that wanted to make farm signs, those ones like the corn or whatever that's on cornfields. And so we're going to work on that. Yeah, I do have a lot of people doing footwork for me, and it's really awesome because they're really good. They send me a picture, they give me the size, and then boom, after that is 80%, 90% of all the work.
Let's talk about how ScaleSigns is available in some of the relationships you've been able to build as you've been growing ScaleSigns.com. We talked about the travel you've done and train shows. Obviously you went to Deschler and then you went to St. Louis RPM. You've been there. You've been out to Amherst before. You've traveled a lot. You had the trailer. You're out there getting to train shows and meeting people. But you're also meeting folks within the hobby that are also helping get ScaleSigns in more places. Talk about that.
Yeah, partnership. One of the things that we're really looking forward to is partnering with other people who are in the model railroad industry. One of the people that we're just became partnership with is Tully Models, which are beautiful grain elevators. He does a lot of 3D parts. I can't wait till one day to have my layout back and build a grain elevator with all his stuff. Except to build one of his grain elevators that look pretty cool, you're going to need about 8 feet. But he had given me a call and asked if I would make certain sign packs that would go into his models, and which I thought was an absolute brilliant idea that helps me get my signs out there. It makes me happy that a quality sign is going to go into a kit, which will help the customer. And with Tully Models and his great work, it's just a really good match. And so that's what we're doing. And he made this cool little logo with mine that says ScaleSigns inside, kind of like that old school Intel inside. So it was pretty cool. I mean, if you're old enough to remember Intel inside commercials, so that was like really cool.
And that relationship with Tully Models, where you're able to put ScaleSigns within the kit, really seems to kind of be on the same trend that you were talking about earlier, where you went from 300 to 3,000 SKUs, which is the fact that it is nice to get a complete kit where when you buy a Tully Models kit, you're not worried about, oh, now I got to go find the signs for it. It's all included. And I think that really plays into the modern day modeler, where the convenience and the ability to save time, you've got an all-in-one kit, really makes things more achievable for the modeler.
Yes, that's there's a lot of things that we're looking into to help other companies that to build that kit that you get, that everything is there. You don't have to go like, oh, here's my kit. I got to go find some signs. I got to go find these little detail parts. This is one of the things that I'm trying to do, is actually make some partnerships with other manufacturers. Even if the manufacturer is making a kit and he's got his own signs, I'm not. It's not like I'm trying to, like, oh, I'm the sign guy and I want my signs in there. No, it's the customer, and giving the customer the best product. It Tully Models, it helps him, he helps me, and that is definitely. There's some other stuff down the road where we're going to start making, even for like Walters. I'm going to go look at a Walters model, look at all that thing needs, and then make a giant pack of everything that super details their model. So that when you buy a Walters kit, you buy that kit add-on for signs, and then, yeah, you're all set and done to go.
Awesome stuff. Well, it's always nice to make things easier. And speaking of making things easier and easier to buy, another relationship you've been able to forge has been the ability for folks to find your kits at a multitude of model railroad shows throughout the country. Talk about that.
Yes, that's one of the things that we're really going to be working hard in 2026, and that is our relationship with Spring Creek Model Trains. Spring Creek does over 40 shows around the United States, and we're creating a partnership to get our massive parts to him, so that one of the things that really kind of sucks is that hobby shops are starting to become few and far between. And so I've talked to Mike at Spring Creek, and it just all works out in the end for the customer. He's all over the United States. He carries our product. His logistics make it easier for my stuff to get out. Some of these train shows are in areas that don't have any hobby shops, and I have a lot of customers that will email us saying, do you have any hobby shops in this area? And either there is no hobby shops in that area, or we just haven't contacted them yet. So this helps out getting my stuff out to the customers. And it also helps, Spring Creek, because I have emails come in and I say, hey, Spring Creek's going to be at this show. And they're like, thank you very much. We're going to go. So it's these collaborations between different companies, no matter what they are, I think is going to help the industry. And by having Spring Creek go to over 40 shows to help our customers, find our product that might not have a hobby shop in that area. But there is also going to be sometimes we're not going to completely not go. ScaleSigns is not going to completely not go to train shows. One of the things that Mike was telling me about, which I thought was pretty cool because he has some other manufacturers like it, he'll have my stuff there and I'll show up to be a representative for my stuff that's there, but I don't have to truck it in my trailer. And so that, helps him and it helps me. And one of the things I definitely we don't want to do is lose contact with our customers. Once again, that's one of the things that we're going to miss a little bit just for 2026 is talking to our customers at shows. So those are one of the things that are going to probably happen is our stuff will be with Spring Creek, but I'll show up, a representative will show up so we can talk to our customers.
Well, I know one of the shows that you unfortunately won't be able to make is the Railroad Hobby Show coming up here in late January. But thanks to Spring Creek Model Trains, you will have product at the Railroad Hobby Show. You'll go over to the Stroh building and be able to check out all the latest offerings from ScaleSigns.com right there.
Yep. Spring Creek's actually be in Novi, Michigan next weekend. And I'm taking a giant chunk of inventory for them to be ready for Amherst. I'm really hating that we're not going to make Amherst this year, but like we said in the beginning, for 2026, ScaleSigns is just stepping back to being a better product and better service to our customers. So yes, Spring Creek is going to be holding down the fort for us at Amherst.
3 years in, you mentioned earlier, and we're compared when we have talked on the phone about. Our podcast here is approaching 4. I think you're approaching the 3rd to 4th year, pretty much about the same time. Going back and you think to when you started ScaleSigns.com to where you are now, 3.5, 4 years in, what has really surprised you as you continue to grow ScaleSigns.com?
I'm thinking one of the things that has really surprised me is that the 8 to 10 hour day work days, 5 to 7 days a week, I still haven't worked a second. I love this. It has definitely grown. I did not think it was going to be as big as what we are. I didn't think that we were going to be an industry changer. I thought I was going to make some cool signs, help some modelers reach that level of detail that they wanted, and we're doing that. I just didn't expect it to be as big as what it is. And that's what surprised me the most. Oh, and then the feedback from the customers. That's another thing that has surprised me is how supportive all the people are with the information. There's just handfuls of people who call or email helping out saying, hey, this is what we like. I just had this gentleman who worked for the U.S. government, making sure the safety placards on rail cars are correct. And he saw some mistakes that he saw on my placards on the website. And so he emailed me and said, hey, ScaleSigns, this placard, blah, 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 should be this. This placard should be this color, and this should be this number. And you should reword this one because that's what this number is. And so he is helping me because I can't be everywhere. I can't, I'm trying to do my best. And that's what's surprising also, how many people just come in and just help, which he knows in his, I'm thinking he's saying he's helping everybody else also, which makes me feel really super good. So that whole camaraderie with the people is another thing that amazes me, because there are a lot of good people out there, and the way things are today, it really isn't that bad when you get to all these other nice people.
He didn't issue you a fine for any of these mistakes, did he?
No, he didn't. And but like I said, I get a big smile when I talk to these people because they catch these little errors. But it really makes me happy that we're fixing the problems and making the more detail for the people who want it.
Let's talk about going beyond the signs, because I know not only are you the sign guy, you're a model railroader too. And I know you participate and you talk about, eventually getting your own layout and being able to do that, but you participate with your friends and help them out and do modeling with them. And that's also helped you expand your offerings. Talk about some of the products beyond the signs that you've been able to create with ScaleSigns.com.
That is probably one of the biggest things that has really helped drive the 3D section of ScaleSigns. I think if somebody has heard before, I have the rule that if it doesn't have a sign on it, I don't make it. Otherwise, I'll never make any signs because the 3D printing is awesome. My friend Kenny Cook, he has a like 60 by 20 layout, and it's just massive. I have like a 50 car coal train, and it looks tiny on his layout, which is awesome. So like about a month ago or so, a couple months ago, I lose track of time. He was at the hobby shop, and I was with him at Riders here in Flint, Michigan, and he was looking for railroad ties, and he just couldn't find any railroad ties. I'm like, I got you. So I made the railroad ties, and those have been a big hit. And now he just tore his layout, like 20 feet of his layout, building a new one, and he needs these retaining walls. And so he says, hey, I need these retaining walls 3 inches high. And I had made some retaining walls for the module that I made for shows. So they kind of snap together like Legos. And so they can be more modular. And so now we're working on this 3-inch tall wall modular system. And that is being made because of him. So there's a lot of stuff that, and you're right, because I'm a model railroader, I'm like, yeah, that will be cool to have. So let's just make this thing. And there's a lot of time we try to get to his the layout once every weekend, but sometimes it goes a couple weekends. And every time I go, he gives me more work. So yeah, he laid down those railroad ties that I made, and he's like, Garza, I need tie plate pile. So, because that's, there's tie plate piles in the railroad yard. And literally just before the show, I was working on a 3D model. I'm up to about 100 tie plates that I'm slowly stacking. And you got to stack them in angles and try to 3D print here in a couple of days. I'm assuming there's going to probably be like 150 tie plates individually placed just to make this stack. And one thing, it's really hard to be random. You're trying to put those tie plates down random. And it's actually harder to make random than it is to just be random. So yeah, being a model railroader and my friend Kenny and his layout and all the other guys, there's like 6 of us. And I said, well, Kenny, this is going to start being a club if you be careful, if you add a few more people. But it's all those guys that are always asking, because you know how people in a layout, one guy does wiring, one guy does scenic. And so, yeah, they're always giving me little things to do. And once again, that's what helps us here at ScaleSigns drive what products that we believe other customers would want.
Now, you're definitely not devoid of competition. There's other sign companies out there. Why don't you tell us what the ScaleSigns difference is?
There are some other companies that are out there. One of the things that I think personally is the reason why what makes my signs a little bit different is you can go ahead and make a yellow, general warning sign with, a right curve coming up or, bump or signs like that. And you can make those a dime a dozen. But we have tried to put more thought into the sign. So, we made sure that there's bolts in there. We made sure that there's rust stains where those bolts are. And a lot of it is we're trying to play with, I know this is going to be crazy, but this is how deep we're going. I'm trying to play with your subconscious. That's what we're trying to do. So subconsciously, when you're driving down the road, your brain sees these signs, but they've been seeing them since you were a kid. So your subconscious sees these signs and automatically knows what to do. You don't have to think about them because you see them and just know, because you've seen them your whole life. So one of the things about signs is even though the bolt is tiny, it's there and your eye can see it. Your eye doesn't lie to your brain. So we put those bolts on there. Another thing is those signs are not, 90-degree corners. They're actually cut off so they're kind of round so you don't poke yourself. So we cut tiny little corners off those things to make the signs real. Of course, we paint them silver on the back. I didn't go with a toothpick or a pole, a round wire for HO. We have two different kinds of poles. We have T-shaped poles, which is kind of like operator, kind of for like scale trains is the easy one. And then we came out what's called pinnacle poles. They'd be like a rivet counter. And actually, those are channeled 3D with holes in them, so that if you really want to get super detailed, when you mount that sign on there, you can see the back of it, that there's a hole there because it's, the U-shaped channel, and it's got all the holes. And when the light hits it just right, it reflects on the bottom, on the inside of those holes, and you can see all those little dots. So one of the things with all that competition out there, I understand there's a lot of stuff, but we are taking our signs to the next level. We're not just trying to make a beautiful sign. I'm actually trying to tap your subconscious to give you that feeling of realism. So it's those kind of things that we push to make better. Our crossbuck signs, they're 4x4. They got the little 45-degree angle at the top. Could have stopped right there. Good to go. It's HO. But nope, we put a washer and a bolt head on the back of that lines up with the sign. So you could paint it, you could take like a black permanent marker and just touch it, and then boom, it's there. But can you see it? 50% yes, depending on the angle. But that doesn't matter to us. It's there. And if your brain sees it, you're going to get locked in. It's these kind of things that we do to try to convince your brain that it's real. And we're constantly trying to find new ways to play with your brain to make you feel like it's real. And I think that's what sets us apart. We're just not trying to make a sign to sell. We're trying to make what I've been kind of saying to myself, we're making models. Our signs aren't just a sign or a piece or a toy. Those signs are models to add to your models.
Well, it's certainly no surprise why you're such a hit at places like the St. Louis RPM, where discerning model railroaders know the difference and they can see the details, and you're able to provide them with your signs and all your other 3D printed creations and everything else that you've been able to do to bring that realism, as you say, and be able to convince that it's beyond just a simple sign. It is part of the landscape, and you've done an excellent job with that. And it still amazes me looking at your catalog, just how vast it is and the amount of signs you have covered. It's incredible. 3,000 SKUs. Of course, you're going to have a lot of it covered, but there's still amazing amount of signs that are still out there to be made. Talk about the custom process, or when people submit, what is some of the information that's helpful for you as people are either requesting or looking for custom signs to be made?
Well, custom signs is actually a big part of our business. I was quite surprised at how many people call in or email asking for custom signs. And one of the things is that we do stuff in different scales, not just SO. If they want a specific size because they're milled in a model or like an architect or something like that, we do custom signs. And just like, I had talked earlier about Jimmy. Jimmy has got a picture of the sign. A picture always helps. I've become really good at looking at a picture, and if there's something in the background that we know is a known size, then I take that known space in that picture to figure out pretty much 95, 97% what the actual size of the sign is if we don't have that information. But what really makes it really super easy is a picture, a general, or what the size of the sign is. When we know the size and we got a picture, 90% of the work is done. Usually there's a lot of times where customers will email me and send me a picture and a size, and we'll send it to the art department, and they make it that day within hours, because that is 95% of the work. So it's one of the things, though, I will say, if you want custom work, email is good. I'll get your information, but we will definitely call, because sometimes you just can't express what you're really looking for trying to write words on an email. The reflection in people's voices that we come to when we talk to people with custom work, there's always these little things. And also, once we talk to a customer about custom work, there might be something they didn't think about, like when they say, hey, I want this sign, I'm like, okay, do you want a rusty pole? Do you want a new pole? When it comes to new pole, do you want silver or green? So there's a lot of options. So for people who are interested in custom, we will give you a call because there's actually more options that come with the price of custom work. You get to pick your pole color. You can pick if you want bullet holes in it. You can pick it if you want weathered on it. So there's a lot of things that you can do. So if you're asking for custom, we're going to give you a call because we want to make sure you get exactly what you want.
And I see not only are you covering a wide variety of different types of signs, you're also covering a whole variety of eras. You're also covering a whole worldwide selection of signs here as well. I see some in French. I see, I know Australian signs you've got covered. You're worldwide, Tom.
Yes, that is actually one of our goals. We've already started working with us European signs, them route speed limit signs and all those triangles that they got in multicolors. Yeah, we're definitely trying to get there. Marty from Australia, we're working with him to get some of those Australian signs, which is pretty nice because Australian signs are about 90% like American signs. So it's really easy to tweak those and make those. Eventually, yes, there's stop signs in Arabic. There's stop signs, in Chinese. And those guys play trains too. So those are definitely, they're in the works. It's just going to take time to get there, and I'm probably going to get a lot of emails after this. So let's say there's an Arabic stop sign somebody wants. Well, it's on the list to do, but it's on the list. Where is it on the list? Could be in the middle, could be at the bottom. But as soon as somebody emails me like, hey, I would like an Arabic stop sign, it gets pushed up to the top of the list because somebody's asked for it. So a lot of times, if people really need something, but they're not in a hurry for it, you just send me an email, give a suggestion, it gets put on. And if somebody's like I said earlier, if somebody asks for it, there's other people who want it. So that is worldwide is it. And you're right. Those 3,000 SKUs are going to get huge because there is no. Just like we have camping signs, the brown ones. I have 50 different camping signs, all these logos, campfire, ranger station, all these things, boat ramps for, all these different ones. And I have 50 plus signs of those, but I've probably only sold 15 of them in the last 3 years, but that doesn't matter. If that guy needs that boat ramp sign, it's there. So yeah, the around the world, eventually we'll have them all.
Amazing amount of selection of signs. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find more on ScaleSigns.com, or did I just answer that question?
ScaleSigns.com is where you go to find everything. We're working on posting more on Facebook. One of the things is we don't want to post every single day all the new signs. So we're trying to figure out a best way to not annoy you by putting these new signs. But Facebook is one other place to go to, and that's where we put all the new stuff. And in 2026, we're going to work more on that to give more information. So website or Facebook will be two great places to find new stuff and what's going on.
Awesome. And we'll share all the links on our website, aroundthelayout.com/210, including to scalesigns.com. And of course, Spring Creek Model Trains is where you can find Scale Signs at train shows near you. You can see their schedule on their website, and we will again provide the link in our show notes. Tom, great catching up with you again and learning more about ScaleSigns.com. Always a pleasure to have you here on the show, and look forward to the next time that we get to hang out together.
Once again, thank you very much for having the show. I love your podcast. I love, seeing the comments and everything that's there. Anytime you want to have me over, I'm good to go.
Now it's time for the RPM report. Let's head over to Eric Hansmann.
Here we are again with the monthly Around the Layout RPM report. 2026 started great with prototype rails at Cocoa Beach, Florida. Photos of the many display models have been circulating on the internet. I hope you've seen a few. One February date is listed in Rochester, New York. Rock RPM debuts on the February 21st weekend. March revs up with 4 RPM events around the country. I'm looking forward to RPM Valley Forge and will be giving a presentation. Maybe I'll see you there. A couple events are set for April, including a debut in Sydney, Australia. For information and links to upcoming events, check the RPM calendar link at aroundthelayout.com/RPM. Make some plans to attend a prototype modeler meet near you. I'll be back next month for another RPM report. Until then, let the prototype be your guide.
Well, thank you, Eric, for that report. And now it's time to find out what's happening in ATLP Universe. By now, I hope you'd know that there's a pretty big train show happening in just about a week. Around the Layout podcast will be at the Amherst Railway Society's Railroad Hobby Show in West Springfield, Massachusetts, January 24th and 25th. We'll be in the Young Building, Section 89D, so be sure to stop by and say hello and drop off your completed ATLP passport while you're there for a chance to win one of 12 awesome prizes. Learn more about ATLP Passport on our website, aroundthelayout.com/passport. Thanks to everyone who has pre-ordered your ATLP 2027 Prairie Shadows HO Scale Trinity 50-foot high cube boxcar. We're pleased to announce that 54 more cars were added to the pre-order and are available until February 1st or while supplies last. Pre-order yours today at aroundthelayout.com/2027, and if you're a member of the operating crew, don't forget your discount code. To keep up on all that's happening in the ATLP universe, be sure to subscribe to ATLP Extra, our free monthly newsletter. Subscribing is quick, easy, free, and could win you an awesome prize at the end of the month, so be sure to sign up now at atlpextra.com. The Railroad Hobby Show is sure to create a lot of news, and we'll be back next month to cover it. I'm Ray Arnott, and that's what's happening in model railroading. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Around the Layout. Learn more about today's episode, check out past shows, and much more on our website, aroundthelayout.com. Show your support by becoming an operating crew member at aroundthelayout.com/crew. Follow us on social media, aroundthelayout.com/social. And send us your feedback, aroundthelayout@gmail.com. Thanks for hanging out with us around the layout.